Well, the Astros finally scored a run, but unfortunately, at that point in the game, it was a little too late. The Astros got swept by the Tigers, but thankfully, the Phillies did the Astros a favor. We'll go and talk about this and more on tonight's Locked On Astros podcast.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros. We hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Heisman. You can find me on X at Eric Talkstros. You find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead, subscribe to us. Go and make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. Today's episode is brought to you by runs. I'm not really sure at this point. It's just so frustrating what's going on. But today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the United States. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. So, speaking of ending, I know the Astros want to end this disaster of a stretch. The fact that they have been swept, the fact that they went 31 and 2/3 innings without scoring any runs. Then they scored a run, but by the time they scored a run, they're already down, 6-0 already. Framber Valdez had one of his bad starts, and it just seems like, what's going on here? And finally, somebody decided to become a leader and speak up. And of course, it was Carlos Correa. So we're going to talk about what's going on with the Houston Astros, who's coming back to the rotation. We'll go and talk about that today. So guys, I know I didn't watch a lot of today's game, but it was about the same old, same old. The Astros were down 6-0 in the first inning, and they got swept by the Tigers. The Tigers are now 76-53. The Astros are 69-58. So if you had any inkling of maybe potentially getting into maybe the first or second seed, every loss at this point is really hurting your chances. So right now, the Tigers are 76-53. The Blue Jays are 74-54. And the Astros are coming back to the rest of the pack. The Astros are now 69-58. If you look at the wild card picture right now, you got the Yankees are at 68-57. The Red Sox are 68-59. And the Mariners, thank goodness, they keep on losing. They seem to be as bad as the Astros right now. They are 68-60. So if the Astros and the Mariners, the Red Sox have been losing a lot. If they don't start winning pretty soon, the Royals are going to enter the picture. They're on a 5-game winning streak right now. So the Astros are so bad right now. And it's so frustrating because you know that this team is more capable. And we'll talk about what Carlos Correa did. And I know that Joe Espada talked about it's a long season. You just got to go through the grind and everything. But ever since July 6th, they are 14-23. 14-23. How are they still a game and a half above the Mariners? That just blows my mind. Yes, Espada says we're still putting up good at-bats. Well, in today's game, of course, they scored some runs. So, of course, they're putting up some better bats in today's game. But the fact that the Astros are where they are just shows what a disaster the AL West is this year. The fact that you're basically handing the Mariners the AL West, saying, here, it's all yours. Take it. What are you waiting for? What's going on? And the Mariners are just they're floundering just as bad as the Astros are. And so it's a mystery. It's a mystery what's going on with both teams. But I know that a lot of people have called out Joe Espada. A lot of people have called out hitting coaches. A lot of people have just called out the team, the lack of their, sometimes they're over aggressive. Some people have called out their lack of heart. But whatever's going on, they are 9-16 since July 14th. 9-16. 16 since July 14th. What is going on with this team? They are batting 168. And they've only scored 7 runs in the past 6 games with only 5 extra base hits. They've been shut out 4 games in that stretch. Twice in Houston to a Baltimore team that they'll play again this weekend for 4 games. So what do you think is going to go differently that didn't go right for them at Dyken Park? What has changed for the Houston Astros that'll make you think, oh, they got it now? They got this. What's changed? I don't know. We'll talk about Carlos Correa, like I said, in a little bit. I don't want to go too much into what Carlos Correa, but somebody's got to step up. Somebody's got to say something. There's got to be something that happens. But I know that Mauricio Dubon hit a home run. But by the time he hit that home run in the 4th inning, the Astros are already down. By that time, it was 7-0. I forgot about that run in the 3rd inning that Framber Valdez gave up. So they're already down 7-0 at that point. Talk about pressure on the offense. They're already struggling so much. And then you say, oh, well, you got to come back from being down 7-0. Dubon finally broke the streak. It was up to 31 2/3 innings of scoreless baseball. Statistically, that doesn't happen, guys. It's so rare to see this that you have to go back and look like decades to see what just happened to the Houston Astros, where you go not only back-to-back shutouts, but just all these back-to-back scoreless innings. Just by accident, with the Orioles made errors today. Like, if you look at what happened today, you would say, well, maybe the Astros had a chance of winning this game. The Orioles made 2 errors, but it didn't matter because they're already up 6-0 at that point. 7-0 if you're looking at 3rd inning. It didn't matter what the Orioles did. Sorry, not the Orioles, the Tigers did. I'm already thinking about the Orioles. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see what's going on with this team. This team that we've been rooting for me all my life. Some of y'all have jumped on since 2017. Some of y'all are recent Astros fans. No matter what, no matter how long you've been watching baseball, what you've been seeing, even the bad offensive teams that we saw in the early 2000s, you wouldn't see what we've been seeing. You wouldn't see this with the bad offensive teams back in Astrodome days, because at least they had speed. At least they could get on base. They may not have hit a lot of home runs, but they got on base. There's something missing with this team. And so I don't know what it is. I don't know if Alvarez is the answer. He's not coming back tomorrow. He's not going to meet you in Baltimore, at least not for Thursday and Friday. They've got to find something. Jesus Sanchez, you got your answer. He was not batting cleanup. They dropped him all the way down to 5th. Down to 5th. Now he's 0 for 29? He's struggling, guys. He went from he was never a superstar, but he went from this serviceable player to a guy. If there's a picture that you see on X with him grimacing after a swing, And it's a perfect representation for where the Astros are right now. We'll go and continue this discussion on the Locked On Astros podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen, whether it's on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Hey guys, let's go and talk about Monarch Money. Do you know where your money is at all times? I don't know if I even know where my money is. That's why I need to go download the Monarch Money app. Whether it's a 401k, properties, or investments, when you don't have the full picture where your money is, you can end up leaving some money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's all-in-one personal finance tools that bring your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch Money does all the heavy lifting from you. You can link all your accounts in a minute, see clear data visuals, and get categorized spending of what type of things you're buying, where your money's going. That way you can kind of adjust your budget accordingly. So I know Brett uses this. I need to download the app and start using it myself. But don't let the financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONMLB. So, the Astros, they are where they are. They're still in first place. Somehow, they're still in first place. And you would think, well, at least we have the top two pitchers still at the top of their game. Hunter Brown, he went out there, went toe-to-toe with Tarek Skubal, right? He did. Then you had Framber Valdez against a former teammate, Charlie freaking Morton. Actually, I don't know if Framber Valdez was on the team back then. I don't think he was actually. But a former Astro, Charlie freaking Morton. And this is a guy that's had a terrible season. But, of course, it's against the Houston Astros that are struggling right now. That came into this game without scoring in, 28 innings? So, of course, what does Charlie freaking Morton do? He pitches a pretty decent game. 6 innings, 3 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 1 home run, of course, to Mauricio Dubon, and the 3 walks. So, what did Framber Valdez, a guy that's looking to cash in on his free agency? He's trying to get all those Benjamins. One of the premier left-handed free agents. What does he do? He gives up 6 runs in the first inning. 4 runs before even the first out. So it was a situation where before he got the first out, gave up 4 runs. 27 pitches before he got the first out. Walk, single, double, walk, triple. That normally doesn't do very good for any pitcher. More or less, Framber Valdez, who has the tendency to blow up, to lose his focus in a game. And that's what he did. Granted, he did stay in the game, pitch 5 innings. He gave up 1 more run later on in the game. His curveball was not his best friend today. I believe that he allowed 4 hits on just a curveball. But overall, nothing was doing great. Correa said a big factor for him was if the curveball's landing or not. The day it's not landing, he has to go out there and pitch and try to figure out how to get through the game. And it seems like teams are just having a good approach and staying in the middle of his stuff. And that's what it feels like with everybody against the Houston Astros right now. It feels like the Tigers were all over Framber Valdez, or they weren't taking the bait. So Carlos Correa added, he's going to adjust. You saw the little adjustments he made later in the game with his sliders and throwing something moving into right-handed hitters so they weren't diving in as much. He knows what he needs to do to be the Framber we know. Who is the Framber we know? I'm asking you this. Who's the Framber we know? Is this the guy that we've seen when the Astros didn't lose 13 games in a row? Or are we talking about the Framber Valdez that the Astros have lost his last 6 games, where he has an ERA? I believe he's 0-3 with a 6.14 ERA with a 1.57 whip during that time. Which Framber Valdez are we talking about? The one that won 13 consecutive games? Or maybe he didn't win, but the Astros did? Or this guy? So when the Astros need Framber Valdez the most, sometimes he crumbles. Sometimes he goes out there, almost throws a no-hitter for you. So it doesn't matter. Luke says we need a passionate speech like yesterday again. Well, did it work? Was anybody listening to what Brett or I said? No. They need somebody else to light a fire under their butt to get them. I don't think they dislike baseball or they don't care about winning. It just, for some reason, they're just not playing good baseball. And I've got a little secret for you. Their roster is just not built to win as it's constructed right now. You have too many injuries. Jake Myers, he was a guy that kind of held this team together for a while there. He went on the IL. Isaac Paredes, this was the ultimate super glue, gorilla glue, whatever your favorite glue is. That's what Isaac Paredes was. He's no longer on the team. I'm not trying to make excuses, but there's not that guy on the team. Normally, it'll be Yordan Alvarez, but he has been MIA for about, 3 months now? So, Jose Altuve, he's that veteran guy. He's that face of the Astros franchise. I don't know if he's that big of a leader. So, they went out and got Christian Walker. At that time, we were all celebrating this. At times, he has been decent. For most of the time, he's been below average. The Astros did not do enough to be competitive this year. You can't tell me that they did. Dana Brown did some great bargain bin shopping. Going to Walmart, for those of y'all old enough to know this, they used to have DVDs, the $5 DVDs, the dollar DVDs, DVDs that nobody really wanted anymore. Sometimes you can get a good one. Sometimes it's like, why would anybody pay for this? So these are the type of players that Dana Brown has had to use this year. So a DVD it's a little circular device that you put in a DVD player. So, yeah. So it's frustrating. But when Framber Valdez, who's supposed to be the ace, he has a 7.33 ERA in 4 starts this month. His ERA has climbed from 2.62 to 3.32. This is a guy that's going to be out there demanding $200 million. I don't think the Astros are going to be paying for it. What do you think? Would you give him 5 years, $200 million? Or maybe more? Maybe 6 years, $200 million? I don't know. 7 years, $200 million? Whatever it's going to take to get Framber Valdez staying in Houston Astros with the Houston Astros? Or are you going to say, bye? See you on the flip side. Speaking of seeing you on the flip side, we'll go and talk about what Carlos Correa tried to do. It didn't really help. But sometimes when you try to fix something, you don't see the immediate effects. We're going to talk about what Carlos Correa did next. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. All righty, guys. Let's go and talk about 5-hour energy. If you've been working at the refinery all day like I have, and then you had class and you just need that little burst of energy just to get through the podcast, well, why don't you turn to 5-hour energy transfusion for the win? So this grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game, whether it's when you get home from a long day at work, after a long drive, or at the golf course, wherever it is. Just go ahead and try out 5-hour energy transfusion. It delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without even leaving the green. So do you remember just playing like the golf course and you make this amazing shot and then you get this little burst of energy, then all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm tired. Why don't you just try 5-hour energy transfusion? Maybe get that energy back. But golf is about good times with good people and good flavors. So now you can have all the fun you want. Just buy Snap and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the United States. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make this first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, go and check us out. So Carlos Correa, I don't think he needs 5-hour energy. I'm pretty sure he's got that energy all the time, but the team seems like it needs a little bit of 5-hour energy boost or something. But Carlos Correa, in his first stint with the Houston Astros, he kind of took on that leadership role, especially after some other players left. He became that leader, whether it's going to the pitcher's mound or just in the clubhouse. But since coming back from the trade with the Twins, he has it's taken a few games, but this is opportunity. The fact that the Astros were struggling so bad, this was a chance for him to say, look, this is a chance for me to kind of step out of the background and go ahead and say something. And so that's what Carlos Correa did. He stepped out and he said, we've been in a great spot besides the terrible play the last week. We've got to acknowledge that, but we've got to recognize the things that we have not been doing very well in order for us to move forward and be better and be the team that we know we can be. We want to look at the better picture, the bigger picture, but we also know we have to fix what's been happening for last week. We have a good opportunity to do that in a 4-game set in Baltimore. That's where my head is right now. I want to flush this series away. I want to start fresh tomorrow. I want to go in there with a positive mind and go out there and win. So after that last shutout to the Tigers, Carlos Correa talked to the team just to try to motivate the team. I don't know what was said, but basically he just said, we've got to do better. We are a much better team than what we've been showing. You got to go out there and give it your best. You got to give some more energy. And so he said, we got outplayed. It's as simple as that. They played better baseball. They played a good brand of baseball, and we didn't. When you're facing one of the best teams in the league and we don't show up, that's going to happen. That's what we've been saying on this podcast. That's what y'all have been saying in the chat. If you don't show up against the good teams, if you don't show up against the bad teams, who are you going to show up for? A little league team? Can you beat the team that's going to win the Little League World Series? At this point, who knows? But we know that Carlos Correa did talk after that last shutout loss, and he basically said that they're a good team. They've been struggling, but they've got to get out of this. They got to find a way to start winning. And he said it's just to encourage guys to go out there, bring the energy, go out there and play the brand of baseball that we're accustomed to playing. It goes back to what he said about Framber Valdez. What is this brand of baseball that the Astros are accustomed to playing? This stretch of baseball that they played at the beginning of the season where they kept on winning, losing, or where they're really hot, where they were almost unbeatable for a little bit there, or where they're 14-23, whatever their record has been since July 6th. What's this record that the Astros are supposed to have? Who is this team? I mean, this team just seems lost. Like everybody's trying to be a hero, and by everybody trying to be a hero, they're all trying to put pressure on themselves. Just go out and have fun. That's what I miss about the Alex Bregman days. I'm not even talking about last year. I'm just talking about the dugouts there and all the fun that they used to have back in the old days. Like, what happened to having fun? It just doesn't seem like this team is having fun. They're just going through the motion. And I know they were younger back then, this group, and a lot of that group is gone. Like the George Springer, like he's still one of my favorite players. I got that DJ Springer back there, that bobblehead, but George Springer is still one of my favorite players just because of the energy he brought. Carlos Correa, even though when he left, he brought that energy. And it just feels like this chemistry. I don't know what it's like in the clubhouse. I'm not a beat reporter. I can't go in there. But it just seems like you don't have that Justin Verlander to come out there when they're down and say, what the heck are you doing? And start screaming at them. Everybody. Don't know. I wish I had an answer. They lost today 7-2. The only thing that we could say is at least it wasn't a shutout. They scored 2 runs. Taylor Trammell. Unfortunately, he got hurt in today's game. I didn't want to go throughout this whole show without saying that. He looked like he hurt himself the day before trying to catch a pop-up. He fell backwards, landed on his back. Today's game, he flew into a wall and hurt. I think they're evaluating him for concussion. He is expected to fly to Baltimore. They're waiting to see how he feels before they decide if he's going to play. But it was even questionable if he was going to play in today's game. So, I don't know. Like, everybody keeps on getting hurt. You lost your closer. I mean, this was the glue that was holding this bullpen together. I mean, Brian Brady's good and all, but he's no Josh Hader. Like, you take Josh Hader out of the picture, then everybody else is just a guy. You don't have that back end of the bullpen wizard. So this team, even if they make the playoffs, no team is going to be scared of them. You can talk about, well, this team has the heart of a champion. Sure. Maybe in the playoffs, they do step back up. We've seen this in the past. Maybe Lance McCullers comes back on Friday, pitches really good, and becomes that guy. Maybe Luis Garcia comes back and becomes that guy. JP France, he had to be, I don't think he's activated, but he had to be taken off the rehab assignment. So they're trying to determine what his next step is. But is he coming up to Houston, or are they just going to send him down to AAA? Like, he's not really up here, but it's just probably a just on paper move. But where's JP France going to fit in the picture? Okay. Like, are you going to be able to keep Jason Alexander on this roster? If you ask me beginning of the season who Jason Alexander is, I'll be like, I don't know. but he has been one of the most consistent guys on this team recently. Framber Valdez, I don't think he's coming back. I think the Astros probably saw the writing on the wall. Maybe he's not a long-term option for any team. Maybe definitely not the Houston Astros. If he comes back, I'm not saying I'm going to be against it, but the way he's been pitching, he can look like a Cy Young. He can look like the best pitcher out there for the long stretch. Then all of a sudden, Thanos snaps his finger and he just becomes nothing. It's amazing how somebody as good as he is can just do this. So all we can do is be thankful that the Mariners are keeping the Astros in. So against the Orioles, Jason Alexander goes on Thursday. Lance McCullers, like I said, goes on Friday. Christian Javier, hopefully he's feeling better. I know he did travel to Detroit, so I believe he's going to be all good to go for Saturday. Spencer Arrighetti, he might be on the clock. He might be put on notice. With all these pitchers coming back, the Astros have options on him. So they might send him down AAA if you have other options who are a little bit more productive. So we're all frustrated right now, but we can't just... There's going to be a time where the Astros are not good. I don't think that time is now. Maybe they are going through a rough patch. Maybe it is a long season. It's a long season for a lot of teams. Look what's going on with the Dodgers. They're struggling a little bit too. Other teams are struggling. It's not just the Houston Astros. But at the same time, the Houston Astros are your favorite team. You want them to win. You want them to have that bye. Just like Brett and I do. We're all frustrated. So all we can do is hope that Jason Alexander goes out there, dominates tomorrow, gets the Astros back to winning ways. This losing sucks. And you know it hurts the Astros more than anybody. Because the more they lose, the more unlikely they're gonna get that bye, and it could push them out of the playoffs. Because as the Mariners and the Astros both continue to lose, it could also push the other team out of the wild card picture. Just some food for thought. So, guys, that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Heisman. Brett will be back tomorrow. He had something come up at the last minute, so he is okay. He is mentally stable, I promise you. So we will be back tomorrow. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Go and subscribe to us, and we will see you tomorrow.